Well, as you would expect, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and U.S. President Donald Trump are both singing the praises of the new North American trade deal, saying it will grow the middle class and boost the Canadian, U.S. and Mexican economies. But not everyone is a winner under the new deal, and there are still some uncertainties looming. Chuck Gastle is our favorite lawyer on all things trade. He joins us tonight and has been talking us through as we got to this point. All of us, I think, a bit surprised that when it actually did come through. But let's just start with the basics. Is this deal done, in your opinion? Is there risk it may not get done?
There's risk that it may not get done, but I think it's a very small risk. I think it's going to be done. I think it's going to be passed by the three legislatures. I think the real trick is Obrador in Mexico. He said that he would pass it through. He becomes the president in December 1st, and I think that's where the risk comes from.
And but again, you still think it's more
I think it'll
risk.
be done. Yeah, I think it'll be done.
Let's go through some of the good things and some of the interesting things that came out of this deal. I mean, the good thing I think for a lot of people is the autos were settled, and I think people are feeling pretty good. What do you think of the auto section of the deal?
It was ridiculous that we were going to be facing any tariffs at all. It's completely trade illegal. It's a bully tactic by Trump, and it never should have been there, but that was the gun we had to our heads.
But now?
Well, that gun seems to have been taken off office, but it's a disappointing agreement because of the steel tariffs and aluminum tariffs that are still there. That's completely ridiculous from a trade standpoint. And there's some talk that it's going to go into quotas. But the mere fact that we have a free trade agreement, we have those duties there that were imposed on us on a pretext which is totally trade illegal is completely ridiculous.
So why? I mean, take me through. I mean, I know some of this is law and some of this is negotiation tactics, and sometimes it's hard for the layman to kind of figure out what is what. You got a deal in place. Why wouldn't those get lifted? Like, what's the reason? What would be I mean, legally, you've told us those are not legal tariffs, but why would they keep them in place?
Trump doesn't want to.
That's what it comes down to.
It really does. I mean, to make it very easy, very quickly, he's claimed that imports of steel and aluminum from Canada represent a threat to the Americans' national security, which is taking advantage of a loophole in the WTO which has never been used. And he runs the risk of blowing up the WTO as a result of it. It's just crazy.
What about the non-market economy clause? And again, you know, we saw lots of media in this in the past few days where there is something in this agreement now that if Canada chooses to get a deal with a non-market economy, I guess that might mean China, I think it's what people are looking at, they actually have to let the U.S. know they're going to do that, and then afterwards they have to let them see the agreement. Why? What is going to be the net effect of that? I mean, what's the bottom line? It's
the Trump clause. It means that there will be no negotiations with China as long as Trump is president, because what the sanction is that Trump can, or the United States can declare that they'll be out of the agreement in 6 months. So the moment Canada or Mexico indicates that they're going to negotiate with China, I would expect Trump to say, "Okay, we'll cancel the USMCA."
And so the net effect that is while he's president,
there'll be no negotiations with China. I would expect that.
Yeah, and
normally I don't think it would be if you had Obama or if you had other people there, because these agreements have always had a 6-month exit clause, but no one's ever used it or even thought of using it.
So this basically gives them the platform then to negotiate with China.
Yeah, you've got Fortress North America, and he's going to try to isolate China. Now, what does China do? I mean, China is expanding its trade into Asia. It's into Africa. It's trying to do deals with everything else. So, again, we're building barriers around North America, which could inure to our disadvantage.
Yeah. What I mean, specifically, I guess, you know, to our disadvantage. I mean, Canada's disadvantage, not North America's. I mean, what is?
I would say North America's disadvantage.
Yeah, but what about Canada, though? I mean, because this is a company. Whenever we go through this, we're like, oh, we wish we could diversify to other countries. This really doesn't help us do that.
Well, if you believe in diversification, I don't. I don't think it's possible to diversify our trade. It's been something that's been discussed since about 1970s. And our concentration in the United States has generally gone up. Now it's gone down a little bit lately. But to truly diversify our trade to a point where we're no longer quite as dependent on the United States, I think that's very difficult, if impossible.
Do you think anything different could have come out of this if something was, I mean, is there anything you kind of looked at this agreement going, I wish this had happened, that realistically could have happened? I mean, I think there's lots of things we wish could have happened, but is this the best we could have done in these circumstances?
The best we could have done in these circumstances is not have the steel and aluminum tariffs, and that's very disappointing. Apart from that, there's a cost of doing business with the United States, and we're seeing what it is. You want to do a deal with us, you know, make some concessions.
Yeah, and that's what it was.
And we're a smaller economy. We're incredibly dependent upon the United States, and we had to do a deal. And so hold your nose and do the deal and live with it, and be glad that the major part of our economy is not under threat.
Chuck, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chuck Gastle, lawyer at Bennett Gastle Professional Corporation, joining me here in studio.